record. Here we go. My name is Michael Ian Cedar. For those of you watching this recording, and as more people come in, I'm going to reintroduce myself as well, because this is webinar number 1 for Engaged Leadership and EngagedLeadership.com. This is going to be a weekly thing that we do. I've got a few people in the room already. This is fantastic. Hello, everyone. I don't know who heard me from the very beginning, but my name is Michael Ian Cedar. I'm one of the coaches, and I'm the concierge here at EngagedLeadership.com. We are here to help you create better workplaces. Hello. Wow, this is so fun. This is the first time we're doing this. So there's going to be a little riffing and going to be a little learning as I go along and I do this. But the whole purpose of this particular experience is that, hey, Joel, what's up, man? The whole idea for this particular experience is that every single week we'll focus on a topic. Some days it's going to be me. Some days it's going to be other coaches. Some days we'll get Larry, the CEO and mastermind of Engaged Leadership, on here as well. But it's going to be always Wednesdays at 11:30 p.m. Pacific time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, whatever you are, Central or Mountain time. It's up to you to figure out the math on that one, but I'll give you those two to start. So the idea is that we're always educating you a little bit. We're always giving you a little bit of something every single day. But the bigger idea is that if you have managerial or leadership opportunities that you're looking to explore, or you just don't feel like you're hitting your peak potential, this is the place to be able to ask those questions. Normally, executive coaching comes at, a very reasonable, substantial price because it's so customized and so particular to that one individual. And people go through years and years of training, like myself and the other coaches at Engaged Leadership, just to be able to learn how to do this. So welcome to webinar number 1. I am so grateful you are all here. I'm just double checking I'm recording, and I am. So this is going to be an evolving process, just like your leadership over here, just like your leadership. This program is going to evolve as well. So really excited. I already know I've got Mel in here, Joel in here, Vijay in here, all entrepreneurial spirits, all people in business, all people who lead and manage other people. So I know I've done a lot of talking here. Welcome in, everyone. Actually, even test the chat feature, everyone. It looks like you did. Say hi. Mention a topic right now that you'd actually be interested in hearing about one day regarding leadership. All right. First 10, we're going to talk about our topic. Second 10 is Q&A on topics of leadership that might be important to you. And at the end, we'll also do a poll as well. All right, so I'm going to start. Today's topic is, and by the way, we're Facebook Living this. Oh, hello, Facebook Live. This is Royce over here, just so everyone sees. There's Royce. He's Facebook Living this onto the Engaged Leadership page as well. But when it comes to questions, we will probably turn off Facebook Live so that you can ask questions that are a little more intimate and it stays right here amongst us. But today's topic's on becoming a new leader, on becoming a new manager, right? Because there's something that happens when all of a sudden you go from being a taskmaster all the time, right? There's something that happens when you go from being a taskmaster and being excellent at your job, and all of a sudden, when you're a great taskmaster, people are like, you go manage those people. You go and help those people. You go over there and talk to those people and make sure they get the job done. And all of a sudden, it's what you call, it's not my phrase, it's something that's been around for a long time, rising to your incompetence. So all of a sudden you go from taskmaster to leadership, getting people to follow you, getting people to want to follow you, getting people to manage you, right? Facebook Live, getting people to do that for you. And the whole idea is now all of a sudden your life is no longer about you. It's about other people. All of a sudden, you got dependents. You're a papa, you're a mama all of a sudden, and you didn't have any kids, and now all of a sudden you got 2, 3, 9, 12, 100, right? So my story, because I like to use personal stories because I think we see ourselves through the eyes of other people, is I remember, I believe I was always a successful businessman, entrepreneurial from a kid, and so I was really good at sales. I was really good at closing people in the projects that I was working on, And all of a sudden, I'm just finding I'm escalated from having like 1 assistant to 9 salespeople and an assistant and a merchandising person. And it happened like overnight all of a sudden. And I was so overwhelmed and discombobulated and confused, right? And so I remember being in the Apple store on 69th Street here in New York City. And a friend of mine, a VP of a company that has about 200 employees, I texted her in desperation going, I need your help. because I felt very on par as a person with this VP, but she was somehow managing or had 200 people, not all direct reports, but that she was responsible for. And I remember being this mature guy in this underneath the glass stairwell in Apple crying, right? And I'm sitting here going, I'm looked at as people as successful. I've got a nice home, great family, right? Whatever it is. And I'm feeling overwhelmed and completely out of control and completely disoriented in my life. And she just said these very simple words to me, which I want to share with you now. And that is, welcome. Your life is no longer about other people, about yourself. Your life is now, the word she said was, your life is now about other people once you start leading. Because leading takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort. And if anyone has comments on anything I'm saying as I'm going, this is an interactive thing. This isn't just some boring old webinar where you could watch it on replay. The idea is to interact. So whether you feel something too or you disagree, feel free to throw it down in the comments section as well. But I remember saying to my VP friend, I said, my day can't be about other people. I still have my own tasks to do. I've got like more time and tasks than I have to give to other people, right? And, she said the only way out of that rabbit hole is to manage and train people, to manage and train other people. But until that point, you've got to be better at time management for yourself. You've got to be better at working with your dependents, right? People are now reliant on you. And just like a parent, whether you're a parent of a child or a parent of a cat or a parent of a fish, you find the time to take care of those dependents on you. And that day under that stairwell was the beginning of my true ability to be a leader and a manager to people. So this is where this ties into you guys. This is where this ties into you. Thanks, Mel. Right on. Let's make this about you. If you've recently are going through this, or you feel disoriented, or you feel discombobulated, or for those of you on Facebook, you just feel out of your freaking mind. It was just incredible to learn that I wasn't the only person going through this feeling. So I say the same thing to you. It's not, and we're going to go over why you feel disoriented, because it's so out of your wheelhouse right now. You're used to being that taskmaster, right? All right. And for those of you who are managing people and you've gone through this, it's easy to forget. It's super easy to forget. I was working from home and I went to 9 people. Now I've got a whole office here and there's even more people that I work with virtually, right? Joel, I know you know this from the dance world. You're managing hundreds, tens, several, people on a weekend, right? So the idea is if you haven't gone through it and you find yourself getting frustrated with the people that you manage and the people that you lead and the people you work with, you got to look inside and you got to go, whoa, I remember that time when I felt totally out of my league. Now, maybe you were just a total aggressive MF and you were just steamrolling over everyone, but I put you bet you're not in this room if you're that kind of person and you want to be remembered that way anyways. Because you could be just an aggressive, assertive, dominant ogre if that's how you want to be remembered. This is probably the wrong webcast for you all right? So, it's disorienting because you used to look at your world from a standpoint of me, you, right? And now all of a sudden it's about other people. So now it's about your work and their work as well. But you still have tasks on your plate. So I want to give you some quick solutions here. There's no quick fix, but if I can give you one thing, if I can give you one simple thing out of this particular, what is not a scope, it's a webinar. We have to find a better word than webinar. Webinar sounds so boring. Concierge session out of this concierge leadership session. That's all I need you to do. And then, of course, if you're interested, you can bring in us as coaches or we can read books together. I can recommend books. We can have book club. I don't know. But here's some things. Number one, I want to break this into 2 things. Here's some solutions to getting out of that disoriented feeling or increasing and solidifying where you currently stand as a leader. Because remember, a leader, actually, I'm going to ask this question right now. Throw it down in the chat. Throw it down in the chat. What is the definition of a leader? Throw down what you believe a definition of a leader is inside the chat. And I don't know if there's a way to direct message. Again, this is brand new technology. We did test it out, but you know what? We never did it in real time, so this is sort of exciting. What's your definition of a leader? My definition is one who has followers. Whether that means your kids are following you, your staff is following you, you've got people on social media following you, liking your page, it's people that they want to follow you. The difference between management and leadership is make sure people want to do the work. Managers make sure the work gets done. But leaders make sure they want to do the work in the first place. Curious if anyone else has a thought on the manager, on their definition of leadership. So here's things about you, because we're going to speed up, and then I want to take questions for you guys on anything that you have. Set goals. Number one, make it about them. Set goals with your team. Because of time, we're not going to go too deep into how to do that. But set goals with your team. Set as a team and as individuals. Take the time to sit down with them. Number two, listen and ask questions. You know what? Even if you don't care, ask the questions. Maybe you're going to learn something yourself. And three, train. The reason why is because my common sense is not your common sense. And it's not Royce's common sense. It's not Phoebe's common sense. It's not everyone's common sense. It's out here. We each came from different backgrounds, right? You're saying leadership, open, secure, and inspiring to others. Thanks, Mel. So train them. You know, it's a perpetual training. It's ongoing. It's cultivating, right? And that's where culture comes from. You never talk about culture with the peeps. You know what you want and you train them, because we don't share the same common sense. If I say go clean the desks off in there, your version of clean the desk and my version of clean the desk are different. But you can't get angry if if everyone goes, but that's the way I clean my desk at home. So you've got to train, right? So set goals, listen and ask questions, and train. And I know we're coming up to Q&A poll. Now, about you. Number one, you got to delegate more. Man, I mean, it's cliche, and people say it all the time. Delegate or suffocate, man. Delegate or suffocate. Who's heard of that one before? Delegate or suffocate, right? And the whole idea is you do need to delegate, or you're going to suffocate under your own workload. Number two, you've got to become more surgical with your own time. I mean, surgical. You know, time is your currency, and that's going to be a whole thing that we talk about in another session. Time is your currency. And so how you utilize your time is how you spend your time. How you spend your time is how you're going to get results from other people and yourself. It means block out the time for other people. Block out the time for yourself. I put shades in this office, you know. I put shades in this office so I could have me time. It's as crazy as that sounds. I say I'm in a coffee shop, all right? So number three, the most important is be accountable. If your team screws something up, then you got to train them differently, or you've got to coach them, or you got to get them coaching, or you got to move on. Because at the end of the day, as a leader, you've got to take the accountability of your people, right? You could get angry at them. I'm not saying you can't get angry, but you got to be accountable. All right. So let's start to roll into some of the questions. But here's just my summary of what we talked about. Number one, if you're new to leadership or it's uncomfortable, know you're not alone, okay? There's ways to seek assistance, seek to grow more, right? You could hire a coaching service. You could read books. You could just call up leaders and say, hey, I need other leaders and say, I need help. Two, if you're seasoned, develop your people. Be accountable. Three, remember this. If you give 1 hour time to one of your team members, and they can generate 2, 4, 6, 10 hours of quality work, you've doubled, or whatever you call it, times 10 your own work, right? And at the end of the day, it might not be done the exact way you wanted it to, but that's why you keep training, and that's why you listen, and that's why you ask questions, and that's why you mentor. All right? So that's why companies like us even exist in the first place. No matter how big or small your company is, we can go in and help. So I'm going to do a poll real quick. I'm going to show a poll your way. Here we go. I'm launching a poll. It should show up on your screen. I'm going to give you a minute to answer. I'm looking for what's your biggest leadership challenges right now? And for Facebook Live, is anyone actually answering on Facebook Live? No, so no one's on Facebook Live yet, but this is our first time doing this on Facebook Live. Retention of your team, getting your team to think for themselves. So take a look at your screen. There we go. So getting my team to think for themselves. That is someone else. They need to communicate better internally. Well, anyone else want to do it? Let's see what else comes in. Someone else said, getting my team to represent my vision and communicate with my customers well. So getting your team to communicate with your customers the way you would want to do that. All right, going to give you 15 more seconds. If there's another one that you want to click on here. This is so cool. I love this technology. Facebook live streaming, zooming over here. This is going to be an amazing platform to do things. All right, so 57, 58. All right, so ending the poll. So for those of you who, I'm gonna share the results. We have an intimate group on today. I'm not ashamed to say it. So I'm gonna share the results of the people. Results. I just became foreign. I'm gonna share the results with the. I became foreign again. The results with the individuals who did take the poll here. So there you go. These are things that we'll touch on again in the future. All right. So for right now, there's a button at the bottom that says Q&A. I want you to click this button. This is all new technology to me too, so this is fun. I've got no shame in saying I'm a boy and I love my toys. That does not make me a boy toy, but it does make me a boy who loves his toys. Click that Q&A button there. Put one thing in the Q&A that you're having conflict with as a leader. I want to see what your question is. So I want to see how this unplays. I did test it before, but put one question that you've got inside the text box. I'm going to give you another second to type it out. Again, if you look at the bottom, I believe it's at the bottom of your screen, it says Q&A, and it should give you the opportunity to ask a question. If you don't have that box, if it's not showing up, then please type me something in the chat so I could give you a hand. Lower all hands. What's that? Or hands up? No, don't think so. But include a question in there that you might have. All right. One person. If you set a goal for them, I'm assuming them being whoever you're leading, and I have no time for myself, how the hell am I going to be able to make sure the goal is being set in the first place? Hi. Okay, I think that was just testing. So if you set it, let me make sure I understand this. If you set a goal for your team and you've got no time for yourself in the first place, how are you going to make sure the goals are going to be met? Now, there's a lot of ways that this can obviously be answered, right? But I'm going to give some of the fundamentals that you probably read in other places, but it's good to be able to hear this. And so number one, man, so I've done it myself, and I see so many staff members do it. They're like, okay, let's set a time to follow up. Hell, you know what? Yes, that is important. Carve that time out. Your time is your currency. But more importantly, it depends on the individual you're working with in the trust level. But if you say, I want these 3 benchmarks, benchmark A when this is done, benchmark B when this is done, benchmark C when this is done. What I want you to do is say, you come to me when you're done. Maybe on your calendar you put, Royce has this due. Stephanie has this due. My stage manager, Joel, for you, has this due. And keep asking questions if you're out there. Ask some more questions, right? So have them come to you. Or you give them the time and you tell them how you want them coming to you as well. And again, the biggest thing is set the time for yourself, just for you to do your work, to do your task. Because like you said, how are you going to follow up on them if you don't have the time? Carve the time out. Tell them how they're going to do their benchmarks. Maybe it's just an email for you. Who knows? Right? Whatever that is. So those are my immediate answers. I'd love to talk to you more about it. You can send me an email. Eric, if you've got more questions on this, or you want to just talk about this, do a 15-minute chat. Michael@EngagedLeadership.com. Wonder how I add that in. That would be fun. All right. One more question, and let's see. There's one more question, but again, please answer, ask questions away. So I got a question. How do I get past doing it myself and taking the time to delegate? Ooh, someone else asked a question. This is too fun. I could do this all day. I mean, I know I said 20 minutes, and we're 2 minutes to the 20-minute mark, but man, I could do this all day. So let's answer this live. How do you get I'm going to quickly answer these. And again, I would love to talk to you all about these more. Feel free to write Michael@EngagedLeadership.com, and I'll answer these a little more deep with you, and we'll find a time to chat. How to delegate. So again, the question is, how do I get past doing it myself and taking the time to delegate? And take the time to, how do you get past doing it yourself over taking the time to delegate? Well, I got an answer for you. Man, learning to delegate is hard at first. And after a while, it really becomes a habit. Like there's days where I go, now that I've grown as a leader, and I'm still growing too, right? But now that I have a bigger team, I just go, hey, do this, here's how I want it done. Do this, here's how I get it done. Just like gratitude. I do a morning gratitude slam every single morning, right? With a bunch of people. It's to build a habit, it's to build a pattern. And so if you keep delegating, it builds a pattern. Now, of course, once you delegate, it's not going to be done the way you want, possibly. So you do need to set clear goals. But if it's going to take you 1 hour to do something, but it's going to take you 20 minutes to explain it, you go, wow, all of these people, all these questions, this is the coolest thing. We have to figure out how to keep doing this. So that's my immediate answer to you. And only due to time, and I do have something at 3 o'clock, so I want to keep going. So we're going to do this again next Wednesday, and I believe Shannon is our presenter next Wednesday. But that's my immediate answer right now. VJ, what, in your opinion, are some of the best successful leaders can economize their time? Best ways successful leaders can economize on their time. One, using their calendar and scheduling. You know, I know some people who don't use a schedule, and if that works for them, great. But truly carving out that time like it's money. Treat every minute like it's $100, and immediately that starts to focus you. Two, when you're in that time, you stay in that time focused on that task. I even have trouble with that because I do have to take calls. I do have emergencies. There are sales upending that maybe someone needs an answer on. But from what I understand, the most successful people look at their time as currency. And if you're spending $100 on a product and a friend goes, I'm going to take 10 of that dollars, you go, get off my $10. I got to buy this thing that's $100. I could answer more, but I want to get to Joel's question too. And actually, BJ, let me give you one more. I think they take time to recharge. I know. They force themselves to take time to recharge. You know, politics and not leaders. Well, leaders, politics and CEOs get criticized a lot for going on vacations and going away for extended periods of time. But, you know, our brains are only capable of so much at a time, and we've got to be able to step away. We've got to spend time with our friends and family and children or pets, Franklin, right? We've got to be able to take that time to get away, because you got to go away to come back home again. I find that very successful people know how to recharge. And maybe your recharge is working. It's just working on something else. And I find my best work comes from when I step away. And Joel, how do you get away from the taskmaster mindset? It's going to be the same of the first question I answered for Mel. You know, it's a pattern. It's a habit. It's something you have to do. And it is I'm going to curse here. Be prepared. If you got children, cover their ears. It's as uncomfortable as to start delegating more at first. And it becomes something you get used to. And I now come to, if I look at all my tasks on my plate, if there's anything that I can delegate, I'd say I delegate it. I might not delegate 100%, but I'll delegate 90%. And Joel, I promise you, man, and I know in the position that you're in, where you have so many tasks, and it's got to be done right, you got to delegate it, but you got to train too, which takes time. But again, if it takes an hour of training time, it takes 1 hour of training time for you to train someone, but you can get 4 hours of work out of that person to do it the way you want over the next week. You've quadrupled your ability to do the work. All right, this was awesome. Remember, this is what Engaged Leadership does. Please pass on that we do this every single Wednesday. We're going to sign up and we'll send out emails with what the link is from week to week to week. I don't know what the topic is next week. I'm embarrassed to say that. That makes me a bad leader because I'm not able to prepare you as much. So next time I'm going to be a stronger leader by having what that topic is. Shannon's going to be the presenter. And really looking forward to doing this again. But I want everyone to do one thing. Put in the chat, what's one thing you got from today's scope? What's one thing that you got? One thing you got from today's scope. What do you got? Put it down in there. It might be, you know, I wasted your time. And that's what you got. It might be one thought. It might have been just the idea that, wow, I feel good that it was to know that other people also feel or felt disorienting when they went through the thing. Maybe it was, you know, you like my receding hairline. Maybe it's the fact that, you know, you just got a little bit of inspiration because you thought the idea was cool to have the webinar. So put in the chat one thing you got from today. One thing. Delegate or suffocate. Yeah, man, I know it's cliche. But how can you grow your business? How can you grow yourself as a leader if you're stuck doing all the admin? I can't keep that coin on my desk. If you're the one doing all that admin, delegate, delegate, delegate. Wow, delegation. We clearly need to do delegation as a topic here as well. Anyone else? BJ, you got anything? What's the one thing you got from today? And if you're driving, please don't tell me. All right. Again, my name is Michael Ian Cedar. You can see more of our work at EngagedLeadership.com. We have a blog as well, and that's growing. But would love to see you guys on this in the future. And please pass it on. Oh, no, thank you, Mel. Pass on the word about that this is every Wednesday, free advice. And you know what? I'm going to make sure that we take less. Now that I see you really do have questions, I'm going to take less time in the topic and more time in answering questions so I can delve in. But this is a learning lesson too. And just like being a leader and growing, you're never going to get it perfect. Just like, hey, my favorite aunt bought me this mug, and it says create, and it's imperfect. Leadership is imperfect. It's never going to be perfect. Perfection doesn't exist, as a matter of fact. People who are perfectionists aren't perfect. They fantasize about being perfect. So don't be so hard on yourself. How do people find us to sign up? We'll post a link. I'm gonna figure that out. Yeah, I need to figure out when I'm in it. How do I get you to sign up for the next one? I think it's gonna be the same link, but I need to figure that one out. But I do have everyone's email address that's in here that signed up, so I will send you. And I thought we knew that, but now that I'm here, I know how to do it in advance. I didn't think far enough ahead. Leaders think forward, while individual non-leaders are looking down. All right, guys, peace out, rolling, and I'll talk to you later. Love doing this. Bye.